Do you fall in love easy, like with everything? Food, restaurants, movies, TV shows, it doesn't seem to matter. You just find yourself right off the bat going to the L word. Freaking love this thing. You haven't really even given it a chance. A lot of things can happen over the next, few weeks, few years, but you love it. You immediately love it. And there's a few running backs that, as of right now, even though it's way too early in the fantasy football season into the NFL offseason, there's still a few running backs that I love here that I'm going to really pay attention to in the offseason. Who are they? Hit the like button. Talking running backs I love here way too early in 2022.
Yeah. Analytics off the chain, all the channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game.
What is going on, Headline Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there today, where yes, I am back. It's been a hot minute since I recorded a video. I took what I thought would be a weekend project to redo my studio here. That was like 2 weeks ago. I missed my deadline by a bunch. Good thing I only have to report to myself, right? Because I would not want to be on the boss's bad side. Actually, the wife did say it took a little long. But anyway, we're back. We're talking football. It's way too early. There's no reason that anybody should be out there talking sleepers or busts or breakouts or anything here for 2022. And why is that? Well, we don't even know who's going to be on these rosters in 2022. You have NFL free agency. You're going to have some players retiring. You may have some trades. You have the NFL draft. A lot of things are going to make teams look a little bit differently. So we're not going to sit down here and just give you rock solid information. If people are trying to do that to you, they are lying to you, because nobody knows. But what we can do here in the offseason is have a little bit of fun, right? I'm not opposed to a little bit of fun. Do you like fun? Hit the like button if you like having fun, because today we're talking about a few running backs that, even though it's way too early, I love them here in 2022, and we're not going to waste a whole lot of time. We're going to dive right in to this list, and the first guy here on my list is going to be Elijah Mitchell of the San Francisco 49ers. And I'll be the first to admit it. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say I was super high on Elijah Mitchell, because I wasn't. Coming into 2021, I didn't see a clear roadmap to him getting enough volume to be fantasy viable. Well, then we lost Raheem Mostert. We knew Jeff Wilson Jr. was going to be out until about week 10 or so. JaMycal Hasty was in the mix. We knew they drafted, Trey Sermon. A lot of question marks in this backfield, but we have said this for years. Whoever gets the volume in the backfield for the San Francisco 49ers is going to be fantasy relevant. That's just the style of offense they have. Now, as the season progressed and we lost Raheem Mostert, it started to become more and more apparent that Elijah Mitchell was the better option over newly drafted Trey Sermon as well. And it was apparent, right? When Elijah Mitchell was healthy, he was getting touches. He had at least 20 touches in every game he played in after week 10, with the exception of the NFC Championship game against the Rams. He averaged just under 5 yards per carry. He did catch 19 of his 20 targets. Wasn't overly relied upon in the pass catching game, but did show that if he's given the opportunity, he can make things there happen as well. He's not a liability in the passing game whatsoever. He ended up with 1,100 total yards, 6 total touchdowns, and only played in 11 games. Now we expect him to switch over to Trey Lance at the quarterback position, and that adds an entirely different dimension to this entire offense in San Francisco. Then you add in the fact that Jeff Wilson Jr., Raheem Mostert, and Trenton Cannon, 3 other running backs that were on the roster last year, they're all free agents. Now, do they turn full-time to Elijah Mitchell, and can he stay healthy enough to give you huge fantasy weeks? As of right now, he's currently running back 18 overall. That's definitely a number I think he can outproduce this year. I'm not going to reach and draft Elijah Mitchell. Like I said, it's February. But as of right now, it's looking like he's the dude going to get the volume in San Francisco, and that's always a running back that I have my eye on. Next, this guy. I was high on some J.K. Dobbins of the Baltimore Ravens just last year, and he's ranked right behind Elijah Mitchell right now at running back 19. But Devontae Freeman is gone, Latavius Murray is gone, and now we get back the backfield that we thought we would have in 2021 of J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, both of which are coming off of ACL injuries, and they're dropping down draft boards because of it. Now, a lot of people want to point to both guys in this backfield and say, hey, it's a split backfield. Have you watched the NFL recently? I mean, have you? I mean, almost every backfield is split. So if that's the case, I want to try to find the backfields that at least run the ball a lot, and that is exactly what they do in Baltimore. It is a run-first offense. We know Lamar Jackson's going to take some of those touches, and that is okay. They're going to run the ball over 500 times a year. Listen, this offense made Devontae Freeman, who a lot of people thought was basically washed up, and don't get me wrong, he was a shadow of his old self, but he was fantasy startable at times. We know Gus Edwards is not there for his pass-catching upside. Sure, he's going to steal the occasional goal line touchdown, but all the passing work should be going to J.K. Dobbins, who should be 100% healthy. And now we get him at a discounted price. If you like discounted prices, let me know down below in the comment section, because I'm going to be honest. I like a sale. Now, sure, you always have that risk coming into a season with a player coming off of a torn ACL that they could potentially have some hamstring injuries. And we've talked about this ad nauseum almost the last couple of years with the doc, Dr. Ethan Turner. They take a piece of the hamstring and kind of reconstruct the ACL. That is a very for dummies version of how it happens. But listen, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know all the medical terms for it. All I know is when players coming off of ACL tears, they have a tendency to be a little bit limited and open up that possibility, at least, for hamstring strains early in the season. It's kind of what we saw from Dalvin Cook a few years back, and we kind of see it year after year. However, each and every year, these guys seem to be coming back quicker and quicker, and J.K. Dobbins at a discounted price in that offense is definitely a name I'm paying attention to. Another guy. Now we're going to drop a little bit further down the draft boards. What about Michael Carter of the New York Jets, currently consensusly ranked? Consensusly? Is that even a word? I don't even know if that's a word. We're going to roll with it, though. He's consensusly ranked as running back 26 overall. Now, it's the Jets, right? Not a lot of people want the running back of the New York Jets. I get it. I totally understand that. However, if you watch the Jets down the stretch, you started to see the improvement of Zach Wilson as the season progressed. Was he out there being an all-pro quarterback? No, but at least he was throwing it to the right team, and that is a step in the right direction. That's something you can't say for Trevor Lawrence, right? He struggled most of the season. We saw improvement is the moral of the story here for Zach Wilson, and that only bodes well for the running game here in New York. Now, Tevin Coleman, the other guy getting some touches in this backfield, he's going to be a free agent as well. But where I really love Michael Carter is the pass-catching game, the potential of the pass-catching game. There was a game this past season where Michael Carter racked up 14 targets. He averaged just under 10 fantasy points a game and was in a piss-poor offense majority of the weeks that he played. Now, another year under the belt here of Zach Wilson. We start to solidify this offense a little bit more with second-year coach now Robert Saleh. We start to see a little bit more Elijah Moore. This offense is definitely somebody who could be improved. Plus, it's still the Jets, and they're going to be losing a lot and having to throw the ball a lot. That's where I kind of fall in love a little bit with Michael Carter. He's definitely somebody later in drafts I'm paying close attention to because he could be a huge value. And then lastly, I couldn't get through this show and not talk about James Conner, but I get it. I got to put a little bit of an asterisk around this. And a lot of people say, oh, it's just because you're a Cardinals fan, Jake. Quit being a homer. Hey, buddy, it's my show. I can be a homer if I want to be a homer. At least I got stats and facts to back it up. But when you look at the entire situation, it's hard not to love James Conner potentially. And I say potentially because facts are facts. He is a free agent right now, but so is Chase Edmonds. But when we look at this Arizona Cardinals offense, he just fits what they're looking for. Look what happened when they lost, Kyler Murray went down with the ankle injury. They had DeAndre Hopkins go down. They lost J.J. Watt. Who was the leader of this team for most of those weeks? It was James Conner is who it was. And as of right now, he's currently ranked running back 23 overall, finishing last year as the overall running back 5 in fantasy football. Now, honestly, I expect the Cardinals to re-sign this guy. He earned another deal to stay in Arizona, and we know they need to have a running game. Plus, whoever is the lead running back in this offense has basically locked up a top 15 spot. We've seen it with Kenyon Drake in the past. Now we're seeing it here with James Conner. Even if they bring back both of these guys, they can both coexist in this offense. They're going to have to figure out how to take some of this pressure off of Kyler Murray. How do you do that? You really utilize the running game. Plus, they can't continue to have Kyler go out there and scramble repeatedly and end up missing time year after year after year. They can't do this to this young kid if they want to find a way to get to the glory land here of the Super Bowl. But the pass catching skills are there for James Conner. There were some catches this past year. I wish I could show them to you without getting copyright strikes here, because James Conner showed this past season that he can be an elite pass-catching option out of the backfield. Dude was out there making Odell one-handed grabs at times out of the backfield, and he's just consistent in this offense. He has that opportunity for double-digit touchdowns, and as long as he re-signs with Arizona, you better believe I'm going to be all in on James Conner here. Now, he was probably, looking back at it, and we're going to do a show on this, probably one of my better calls of the entire season last year. I had James Conner as somebody that I really wanted in shows last year. It's kind of because I foresaw how they could potentially use him. He exceeded all those expectations. However, he set the bar pretty high. Could he go out there next year, get you right around 1,100 yards and double-digit touchdowns? Yeah, 100% I think he can in Arizona. Just got to pay attention, and hopefully my Cardinals do the right thing and re-sign him here this year. But this is what's awesome about that, right? Because it's the offseason. It's way too early. We're not going to sit here and try to berate you with a bunch of numbers that don't mean a whole lot right now. We want to give you guys the information that you need just to kind of chew on a little bit, right? As the offseason progresses, we take in some of the content, we take in some of the information, and then by the time we can actually make solidified decisions, once we get around June, July, August, we've got all this information, we've got all this knowledge all offseason that we can make some pretty good scientific guesses here for fantasy football and walk away with a whole lot of championships. So if that's what you're looking for, you found the right spot. Do us a favor. It's the offseason. Content creation right now, it's a little slower, right? The football season is over, so honestly, we're not getting the views we do in season, and that's fine, but do us a favor, hit that like button. If you enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. It's free, it's easy. You click the subscribe button, that little bell notification. You'll be notified every time we release a video, which is going to be all off-season long. Looking forward to doing that, but hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day here, a great week. Look forward to talking to you next time. Have a good one.